Today in the coffin of Andy and Leyley, I will seduce my insomniatic mother to intercourse my sister, evade the authorities after adding the prefix of serial to my profession, confront my trauma and emotional abuse at the hands of a 6-year-old, and finally choose between a normal sibling relationship or the Lannister path. Fucking kill me. Let's go smoke some crack around the cult oval circle, and play the coffin of Andy and Leyley on crack. The siblings stop at a cafe whilst Andrew attempts to decipher our criminal status after catching more bodies than a trafficked Eastern European's workday. There are 3 major problems highlighted this episode that need to be tackled, all of which can likely be solved by a mixture of homicide and tax evasion. After leaving a raving review at Eat Food, we ask the adjacent shopkeeper if she'd be willing to join us in a reverse cuck. That be called Kakisha? Unfortunately, she seems to have a very strong opinion against my improper nomenclature. To solve our money problems and avoid the IRS to boot, Ashley offers to sell her body for a Benjamin, and while pimping my sister is sound logic. Andrew's strong morals veto that idea. Back at the unlicensed motel with scantily clad cougars hanging about the entrance, Ashley tucks her heat. Why is he pleasuring his Johnson to the news anchor? I mean, spit your shit indeed, my brother, but the bathroom's right here at your disposal. I chuck my laundry into the washer, attempting again to feast for attention, and an argument about her reneging on their deal made under severe duress ensues as we play my favorite game show of
threat or sexual tension!
Call it.
Well, it's obviously threat. I mean, they're siblings, people.
Before discovering whether Andrew will crush her skull or fish for uvulas, the violated news anchor mentions our quarantine department was the subject of state-sanctioned arson and nobody survived. Just like Tox-a-ota, complete with all the vitamins and Colombian energy supplements needed for your group suicide. Our presumed demise still leaves the problem of our finances and IDs before we can unite with Tupac and Bin Laden on Epstein's Island, but an unbothered Ashley falls asleep when we have a vision. Quite. I should have known. The faceless-faced content creator slits our throats, causing Ashley to awaken in a sweat. After calmly explaining the situation to Andrew, we escape into the parking lot, finding that the siblings have indeed taken the Underground Railroad into Canada. A member of the Akatsuki rolls through, and after the last episode, we are hoping to collect volume 667 of the Demon Summoning Ritual. I've personally heard nothing but praise for the newest installment. Moving towards the dark alleyway, alone, fully prepared for the cultist and his gang to sodomize me, but fortunately they're just another Winnie Hut Jr.'s wannabe cult. There is, however, a passcode and no possible clue anywhere, leaving millions of possibilities to the potential code, making it the hardest passcode to decipher in video game history. The challenge couldn't have been made easier. Some goons guarding the elevator curtail my efforts, forcing me to grab a key and take the alternative path, using the curtains to cosplay a woman who doesn't want to spend money on a birthday gift for her man. Thankfully, the cultist is well below the cutoff line for high-functioning vegetable and doesn't notice a thing. The leader begins a group chant for the Dark Lord, a critical failure on all fronts. To ease the sting of defeat, refreshments are distributed, and the alien who gave Naruto superpowers discovers my expert hiding place, leaving me to quickly spin the story of how I spoiled my robes attempting to ejaculate an offering for the Dark Lord, dispelling any suspicions, explaining to Ashley that the group is nothing but frauds, complete amateurs. Let's show them how to really summon the Dark Lord. He's a lot bigger than the last time. He must be bulking. After taking our leave, a car pulls up and Kuwait appears, wherein a problem arises. Ashley has left her undergarments in there, and it is apparently of vital importance that we risk our lives to save her laundry. Ashley thinks her best rendition of Shakespeare might just draw the killer to come out cheering in tears. However, when that fails, I have a different plan. Let's take the killer by surprise. Well, he was all but surprised. How did he outrange my gun with his knife? I couldn't tell you. The only possible explanation is the game failed to mention I was fighting a member of the Fantastic Four. After my screen's life sentence turns into a misdemeanor, I just go to grab the laundry, as Kuwait has created a very compelling argument for not coming within 5 feet of that closet, leaving for Central Park and hiding in a corner awaiting the Hitman as Ashley conforms to gender stereotypes. We hear him approach, but then abruptly stops, deducing he is attempting to ambush our ambush. No doubt a tactical mastermind who'd use Napoleon as a sex toy, leaving Ashley to concoct a brilliant masterpiece, deciding to play rapists and virgins, giving Andrew the excuse he needs to search the bushes for his prey. What the killer fails to realize is the only fetish we are engaging in tonight is gore, selecting empty the clip into his cranium. We steal the corpse's car keys and begin rummaging through his vehicle, revealing that the bastardly Tox-a-ota company was behind this attempt at our life. And worse yet, they're not looking for a status update on his services? Now that's just poor business practice, breaking the first rule in Hitman management, no doubt. Our next 300 IQ move is to rob our parents blind while they're at work. The siblings seem to share everything, including chromosomes. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming of
Threat! Or sexual tension!
Call it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously, Thread, she knows Andrew is a pushover and won't do shit.
When that fails, she resorts to sulking. Good girl. We awaken to some sort of demonic period world you'd see in Big Mouth, finding the Puffle, and just in time as the sentient furry begins singing a solo about blood flow or something. The devil mentions the trinket he granted us is like a free trial off Big Fish Games, so we definitely got suckered in episode 1. Don't mind me, I love foreign objects entering my anus. Take a left after the sigmoid colon. Good thing is we can recharge it, as Ashley has a few souls in mind. I'm given 2 doors, one of which is normal, and the other is something out of a Resident Evil game. Are any of you fine gentlemen privy to Obama's last name, perchance? The Puffle appears, reprimands me, and sends me to go frolic for the Dark Lord for repentance at once, before Andrew awakens me in a distressed state. After calming his nerves, he ends up race-swapping Ashley's favorite TV show, an absolutely heinous crime. At least Tox-a-ota has the gall to tell you it's gonna melt your organs. We climb down the slope of our parents' new... Well, this can't be it.
How'd they pay for all this?
That is not very polite. I'm sure Gorlock the Destroyer has feelings, just like we do. We sneak in through the backyard vegetable garden using a stick to unlock the window, vaulting inside and allowing Andrew in after an adequate throat job, of course, and speculate on the need for an extra bed. We could have just kept a Southeast Asian slave to shine their shoes or something, but you know, friend works too, I guess. I walk into the bedroom. No! Why does it have to be the Adam chair? Inside the cuck cave, certain fluids are all over certain toys, absent my father's of course, as well as a locked dresser which, after locating the key, we seem to have come across an obituary. I guess a new Anne Frank must have dropped. Wait, we died 3 months ago? There is only one possible explanation. We've traveled to the future. Andrew, start checking for phone booths. Mammy? I must be under the employ of Little Caesars, cause I'm hot and ready. We explain that the quarantine was prematurely cancelled after Hamas took control of the building and started milking Abigail Shapiro live on Al Jazeera. After discovering a larger-than-average black man was supposed to be coming later, I scold her for not receiving my calls as she tells her traumatized daughter to cry about it. We brew some coffee and get into a Death Note battle of words. No, seriously, let me turn on the music. Apologies, see your local practitioner if your ears started bleeding. They both know that the other is bullshitting, but they can't say what they truly think. Why were we abandoned? How are they alive? I'd mount Miss Graves' ass on my fireplace. She covertly tells us to get lost, and Andrew starts cooking dinner. Whilst the stew boils, Ashley lets Andrew in on her master plan. However, he's strangely averse to her idea until the father, who's recently lost the respect of his children, strolls in. In our small talk, they ask as to what we've been up to the last few months.
I need to engage in homicidal behavior on a massive scale.
Afterwards, we're tasked with cleaning. We already made dinner. This cannot stand. Discussing with Andrew afterwards on the best way to unionize before he derails that plan and makes valid excuses on how, if we rob them and kill them and one person starts digging into the quarantine, and before you know it, Andrew's giving backshots to Tyrone at Fox River Penitentiary. But never mind that, we still need the question answered of
Threat! Or sexual tension!
Jimmy, Arnold, you've both given your answers. Let's see what's behind curtain number 1.
Is the man retarded?
Before you leave and dislike the video, I assure you, dear viewer, Andrew groping his sister is critical to the plot. Without this scene, the story would simply fall apart. After the scene's so tortuous, the Geneva Suggestions have banned from using it as an interrogation technique. Mom claims this 4-bedroom home is far too small to house all of us, and while we can stay the night, house hunt starts tomorrow. Separate houses.
What do you mean by that?
Is it time to compartmentalize already? Being particularly famished, I decide to cook up some dinner before realizing my next-door neighbor borrowed a key ingredient I can't do without. However, when I ask for the body part to be returned, she feels disrespected with the request and trails behind in an attempt to Josh Giddy me. After realizing I'm not the type of person to frequent nightclubs, she threatens to Hannah Baker herself unless I secure pencils, which I do before getting some lore as to Andrew's ex. I can smell the relationship with her father. Julia is the childhood friend of the asthmatic girl we imprisoned before, distracting the potential war crime investigation by showering her with affection. A textbook tactic causing women with father issues to perform fatherless activities on mushroom tops. I realized that Ashley was observing Julia abusing my Twizzler. Not good. After trading the colored pencils for a candle, which I used to light up a satanic ritual concerning all the people I mercilessly murdered, I find my sister wife hiding in the closet who refuses to come out and embrace her true self. Whatever the case, I take the blonde hussy's limb and secure the original limbs, and getting a flashback on that fateful night. After Andrew learns about asthma and what it does to a motherfucker, Ashley is seemingly unperturbed. We bury the deceased 6-year-old 6 feet, 2 feet under, making up the difference with foliage. Flawless. Not even trained police hounds would be able to sniff out this exemplary disposal. Andrew extracts a promise of secrecy from his sister, who, knowing that her brother despises her along with everybody else, emotionally manipulates him through this traumatic experience and fear of getting caught, securing a reliable best friend through coercion. She breaks the promise a few days later, as Andrew grabs a knife and decides to make a blood oath, swearing her to secrecy in return for me having no hussy steal my gaze. Eventually, the dream is corrupted, and Ashley attempts to Reznov Andrew with none of the charisma that had me ready to fly out to Siberia and fight through Vorkuta myself. Ashley says we should sacrifice our parents, and Andrew says, that didn't take too much convincing. I mean, to be fair, at least they're not playing threat or Mrs. Graves, can you believe this malarkey? Well, that is an extremely compromising position. Guys, I know this may be hard to believe, but I think it's sexual tension. Ashley proceeds to whip out the express pass to heaven. I go to get some of their fluid-covered rope, but father awakens, and after my perfect excuse of wanting to use the rope the same way Drake uses sriracha sauce, he's sent to the basement with Mom and Ashley, as I follow behind with the cleaver. Before executing them to the ghost of Club Penguin's past, Andrew has the grand idea of robbing them, asking for the card and pin before leaving to withdraw money. Ashley goes to cut some blood and finds out that Mother knows what we did to that poor classmate, and in her own way, she did love it. Well, no, to be fair, she was likely covering her own ass. After pricking Father for some blood. Andrew returns with news of a draw limit placed on the card, telling him to, "Believe you me, I'd be looking like Matt Stoney against even Blizzard employees." After getting hold of customer service to remove the limits, and a minor dilemma, Ashley leaves to get the Benjamins, while Mother begins the talk she wanted earlier, apologizing for forcing Andrew to raise Ashley. Andrew was such an easy child, they decided to have another, and when Ashley began exhibiting psychopathic tendencies, Mrs. Grave realized too late she should have swallowed. Thereafter, employing Andrew as an unpaid wet nurse, nanny, and psychiatrist all in one, leading to the codependency we see on display today. She means to rectify the mistake by offering a job, and this is where the game splits into branching paths that will each have their own episodes. You will never believe which one is coming first. And you all know which one I'm choosing. I threaten Mother before she informs me of the life insurance scam, which by reading between the lines we realize Andrew and Ashley were in fact sold to an organ harvester in return for money. It makes you wonder what plague the nurse injected into us in episode 1. After that riveting tale of desperation, she offers Andrew a place to stay in their tiny, humble abode, and after refusing,
"Correct, madam."
Wait, he actually doesn't? Wait, he actually does? Why are you acting disgusted like you weren't full-on grabbing a piece of that earlier? Well, no matter, as the demon shows up and Mother loses herself in the excitement that Club Penguin is coming back, but the demon spoils the fun by showing her visions of CP on CP, causing her to collapse. Afterwards, the demon charges up the trinket and asks to bring Andrew with her to the demon world next time. They're still breathing. Well, apparently taking your soul just turns you into a legume. Ashley decides to engage in character development and commits the deed this time, putting them both on an even criminal playing field. And Andrew relieved. After unclogging the drain and having more fun than Ted Bundy did with those corpses, we realize something. Andrew has changed. We pick up our parents' corpses and blend them before disposing of their innards down the drain and cooking some parental meat as dinner.
What?
She wants to throw the remains into the trash bin. That is a beyond retarded idea. After causing a future heart attack amongst the local trash man, we decide to throw these toothless skulls into the ocean weighed down by a few heavy rocks in a bag. The only problem is the fact people will file missing persons reports due to their intermingling with their neighbors. Think again, Andrew. Before we do, we decide a quick little nap using the trinket in case we do get caught, deciding it's best if we both slumber and double our chances of having a dream. On a related note, wet dream odds have multiplied. In the dream, we pick up color-coded toy rabbits and have the new episode of Leyley and Leyley Alone. Let's see if this spin-off can fill the shoes of the original. After spending years attempting to get Ashley to have dinner with her parents, we realized it wasn't meant to be and just have Andrew eat with her. The next puzzle, we throw all of Andrew's lovers into various stages of afterlife delivery devices, trapping Andrew into a life of Leyley and Leyley Alone. I knew Swiss Army knives were the paragon of versatility, but this puts it on a whole other level. And now for the two routes. Do I let Andrew find Disney love, or do I let my brother plow me? I pray any future employer never finds this video.
Is the man retarded?
I wonder if Andrew had the same. Oh god, he dreamt of doing heroin. That was just a nightmare, Andrew. Nothing to be alarmed about. Let's repent. And in this route, Ashley canonically always believed her and Andrew would make stepsister videos without the pivotal step. After having the plastic bag rip open and skulls drop in a throwaway scene I'm sure won't be brought up again, we arrive at the ocean and play baseball, instead of getting another bag and assuring that they will be found eventually. Again, certain it won't be brought up again. After taking a page out of the Astros playbook and hugging his sister while admitting his nightmares no longer affect him, With the money situation satisfied, our next stop, the cultists hide out in hopes they can craft secret identities, ending off the game with Andrew getting the mark of the outsider on his hand.